What if I told you that the power to never be hurt again doesn't come from changing the world, but from changing yourself? In a world filled with betrayal, criticism, loss, and chaos, we've been taught to defend, react, and protect. But the ancient Stoics taught a deeper truth. No one has the power to hurt you unless you give them access to your mind and soul. Pain exists, but suffering is a choice. In this video, we'll explore the core Stoic principles that will help you build emotional armor, not of steel, but of awareness, perspective, and self-mastery. You'll learn how to reclaim your inner freedom, detach from toxic influences, and rise above the noise of the world. Because the moment you stop giving your peace away, nothing and nobody can ever truly hurt you again. So if you're ready to stop being broken by life's punches and start rising stronger with every blow, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me to the end. This might just be the shift your soul has been waiting for. Number 1, the true source of pain. Have you ever felt deeply hurt by something someone said or by a situation that felt beyond your control? We all have. It's easy to believe that pain comes from the world around us, the people who let us down, the challenges that overwhelm us, the unfairness of life itself. But what if I told you that the true source of your pain isn't external at all? The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, remind us that it's not the things that happen to us that cause us harm. It's how we choose to respond to them. Pain, in its purest form, is not something that can be inflicted by others or by the world. It's an internal process shaped by the judgments and stories we tell ourselves about what happens to us. Take a moment and reflect. When you've been hurt, what exactly is it that's hurt you? Is it the words someone spoke, or is it your perception of those words? Is it the situation itself, or the belief that it's something you can't overcome? The truth is, you hold the key to your own pain. Every time you give away your power to a person, an event, or a circumstance, you allow them to define your emotional state. But when you realize that your pain is born from your thoughts, from the way you interpret what happens to you, you suddenly reclaim your strength. This is where transformation begins. You can choose not to be harmed. You can shift the lens through which you view the world. When something goes wrong, you have the power to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? In doing so, you turn what was meant to hurt you into an opportunity to become stronger. Imagine a life where nothing can truly wound you, not because bad things don't happen, but because you no longer let them have the power to shake you. Picture yourself as someone who sees obstacles not as burdens, but as stepping stones to something greater. This isn't just a possibility, it's within your reach. The Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within. It's not about controlling the world outside, it's about mastering your response to it. By realizing that your pain comes not from the world, but from your own thoughts, you free yourself from the chains of victimhood. You become the architect of your emotional resilience. And here lies the profound beauty of this realization. As you begin to take full responsibility for your emotional well-being, you liberate yourself from the need for external validation. You no longer need someone to apologize or life to go your way to feel peace. You become your own source of strength. The world might continue to throw challenges your way, but you'll find that each one becomes an opportunity for deeper growth, a chance to reaffirm your inner power. You are no longer a passive recipient of pain, you are its master. So the next time you feel hurt, ask yourself, what would happen if I chose not to be disturbed by this? What if this moment was simply a chance for me to grow, to learn, to rise? In this realization, you'll find the strength to say, nothing and nobody will hurt me again. Not because you're immune to hardship, but because you now know the truth, that the power to be free from pain has always been yours. Number 2, the hidden battlefield within. What if I told you that the greatest battles you will ever fight will never be in the external world, but in the quiet corners of your own mind? The Stoics understood this well. They knew that the true measure of strength wasn't found in overcoming external challenges, but in mastering the internal conflict we all face. the war between our impulses and our higher selves, between what we want and what we need, between comfort and growth. Pause for a moment and reflect. How often do you find yourself caught in an internal struggle, torn between what's easy and what's right? How many times has your mind waged war on you, questioning your worth, doubting your decisions, and urging you to settle for less than you're capable of? This is the hidden battlefield, where your thoughts, fears, and desires constantly collide. But here's the empowering truth. You are not a victim of these battles. You are the commander of them. The mind, with its endless chatter, does not control you unless you let it. Every judgment, every limiting belief, every fear you face is an opportunity to rise above, to challenge the very thoughts that threaten your peace. The Stoics remind us that we are not slaves to our emotions or impulses. We are the masters of our minds. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, while you may not be able to control every thought that arises, you can choose how you respond, and that response shapes your reality. The true measure of your strength lies in your ability to choose rationality, wisdom, and composure in the face of inner turmoil. Yet it's not easy. This battle requires courage, patience, and unwavering commitment. It requires you to confront the uncomfortable truths about yourself and the world. But therein lies the power. For every time you face this inner conflict, you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You learn that the external world may throw chaos at you, but you have the ability to remain steadfast in your resolve. The Stoics believe that we are not at the mercy of fate or external circumstances. Instead, our power lies in our ability to control our inner state and maintain equanimity, regardless of what happens around us. When we view life through this lens, the battlefield becomes a place of opportunity. Each inner struggle is not something to fear or avoid, but something to embrace and learn from. The Stoics taught us that the obstacles we face in our minds are often the very things that lead to our greatest growth. If we can master ourselves, our desires, and our fears, the world becomes a canvas on which we can paint a life filled with purpose, peace, and resilience. So I challenge you, when you next find yourself in conflict with your own thoughts, don't retreat, don't surrender. Step onto the battlefield with the confidence that you have the power to choose your response, to shape your reality. This is the path to true freedom. You are not defined by your battles. You are defined by how you fight them. And when you win the battle within, you will find that the world outside becomes less of a threat and more of an opportunity. An opportunity for growth, for wisdom, and for a life lived on your own terms. Number 3, integration over armor. There's a common belief in our world that emotional resilience comes from building walls, from protecting ourselves from harm by shielding our hearts behind layers of armor. We tell ourselves that if we just close off, if we hold back, we'll never feel hurt again. But here's the sobering reality. True emotional resilience doesn't come from protection. It comes from integration. Think about it. Every time you build a wall to protect yourself, you also cut yourself off from the richness of experience, the very thing that fosters growth, connection, and authenticity. We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid pain, as though it is the ultimate enemy. But pain is not the enemy. It is part of the human experience. Avoiding it, repressing it, or trying to escape it only ensures that it will hold power over us. The more you resist, the more you reinforce its grip on your life. The Stoics understood this paradox. They didn't preach avoidance, they preached acceptance. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles, the pain, the very things we seek to avoid, these are the paths to growth. It's not the avoidance of discomfort that makes us strong, but our willingness to face it, to integrate it into who we are, and to rise above it. So here's the challenge. Let go of your armor. Stop running from the pain, the discomfort, the emotions you've been trying to suppress. Instead of building walls to protect yourself from suffering, open yourself to it. Let your experiences, both joyful and painful, become part of the fabric of your being. When you integrate the fullness of your emotions, you no longer fear them. You no longer run from the pain. you begin to understand that pain is not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced. It is the doorway to strength. The paradox is this: the more vulnerable you allow yourself to be, the stronger you become. When you stop pretending to be invincible, when you stop trying to be perfect, you become more authentic, more human, and ultimately more resilient. You realize that it's not your ability to protect yourself that makes you strong. It's your ability to stand unarmored in the face of life's challenges, with all your wounds, all your scars, and still choose to rise again. True emotional resilience isn't about having no scars. It's about learning how to live with them, how to let them shape you, and how to rise above them. So the next time you feel the urge to shield yourself, remember, real strength comes from integration, not from protection. Let life's challenges be your teachers, and in the process, you'll become the most resilient version of yourself, unbroken, unshaken, and deeply alive. In truth, it is not our armor that defines us, but our ability to stand in the storm. When we choose to integrate our emotions, our struggles, and our pain, we stop allowing them to define us as victims. Instead, they become the very things that propel us forward, that sharpen our character, that fortify our will to keep going when the world says to give up. Every experience, every challenge is a chance to build not walls, but strength. A strength rooted in who you are, not in what you hide behind. As you reflect on your life, consider where you might still be hiding behind armor, where you might still be avoiding the pain or the discomfort that could actually set you free. The question to ask isn't, how can I protect myself from life? But how can I embrace the fullness of life and let it make me stronger? By choosing integration over protection, you open the door to a kind of resilience that is unshakable, not because it's impenetrable, but because it is honest, real, and deeply rooted in the core of who you are. Number 4, suffering as a sacred messenger. What if everything you've ever suffered through was not a random act of cruelty, but a sacred invitation? An invitation to evolve, to transform, to uncover parts of yourself you never knew existed? Suffering, in its truest form, is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It's easy to view suffering as a force that opposes us, that tries to break us. We run from it, avoid it, and do everything in our power to escape its grasp. But what if instead of running, we turn to face it? What if, instead of resenting it, we learn to embrace it as an essential part of our journey toward wisdom and self-discovery? The Stoics, with their profound understanding of life's challenges, believe that suffering is the great revealer of character. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, suffering is not just an obstacle to overcome. It is the very means by which we move forward. It is through suffering that we are forged into something stronger, something wiser, and something more resilient. Consider the paradox. The pain we often fear is the very force that can transform us into a better version of ourselves. When we stop seeing suffering as a punishment and start seeing it as a necessary part of growth, we unlock the potential for transformation. Just as a piece of metal must be heated and hammered to take its final shape, so too must we endure the fire of hardship to become who we are meant to be. You see, the process of self-discovery is never neat or easy. It requires us to confront discomfort, to lean into the very things we would prefer to avoid. But in doing so, we strip away the illusions that hold us back, and we uncover the raw, unshakable strength that resides within us. Suffering becomes a mirror, reflecting back to us who we truly are, beyond the mask we wear for the world. And here's the empowering truth. When you learn to embrace suffering, you realize that you are never truly alone in it. Every great philosopher, every transformative figure has faced their own trials, but they did not let their suffering define them. Instead, they used it to redefine themselves. And so can you. You are more resilient than you know, and within you lies the ability to turn suffering into a force for good in your life. So the next time you find yourself in the throes of pain, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Embrace it as an opportunity to grow, to deepen your wisdom, and to discover the unshakable strength within you. This is not the end of your story. It is merely the beginning of a new chapter, one where you emerge stronger, wiser, and more in tune with your true self. And here's where the transformative power of suffering truly lies. In the realization that the greatest strength isn't in avoiding pain, but in having the courage to meet it head-on. To embrace it as a teacher, to allow it to mold and refine you, is to move into a deeper state of self-awareness and authenticity. Each time you meet suffering with acceptance and clarity, you free yourself from the chains of fear and resistance that have held you back. You step into a space where you are no longer defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to rise from it. In that moment, suffering becomes a tool of liberation. It no longer controls you, nor does it have power over your emotional state. Instead, it propels you forward on the path of self-mastery, offering you the chance to transcend your limitations and emerge with an unshakable sense of peace. In the end, it is not the absence of suffering that leads to peace, but the mastery of it. And that mastery is where your true freedom lies. Number 5, the journey of self-mastery. The path towards self-mastery is not one of ease, nor is it for the faint of heart. It is a journey that demands everything from us: our time, our patience, our perseverance. And yet, it is the most profound journey we will ever embark upon. Self-mastery is not a destination, but a continuous unfolding, a daily commitment to becoming the best version of ourselves, one choice at a time. Imagine yourself as a sculptor, standing before a block of stone. At first, the stone is rough, unshaped, and seemingly raw in its form. Yet with each thoughtful strike of the chisel, you begin to reveal its true beauty. In the same way, self-mastery is a process of chiseling away at the distractions, the weaknesses, and the fears that obscure your potential. Each challenge faced, each discipline practiced, and each reflection taken is like another chisel stroke, gradually uncovering the person you are meant to be. The very difficulty of the path is what makes it worthwhile. The struggle, the obstacles, the moments of doubt, they are not signs of failure. They are the building blocks of strength and resilience. Just as a diamond is forged under pressure, so too is our character shaped by the trials we face along the way. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-mastery, as the Stoics teach us, is not about controlling the world around us, but about mastering our inner world, our desires, our impulses, and our reactions. It is about learning to remain steady, calm, and focused, no matter what chaos swirls around us. It is an inner discipline, a quiet strength that can weather any storm. But let us not romanticize this journey. It is not easy. It requires that we confront our weaknesses, our fears, and our insecurities head-on. It challenges us to dig deep, to strip away the layers of pretense and comfort, and to look squarely at who we are, not who we wish to be. It asks us to make difficult choices, to choose discipline over indulgence, integrity over convenience, and growth over complacency. And yet, in the solemnity of this challenge, there is also great hope. For every step forward on this journey, no matter how small, is a victory. Every moment you choose to act with patience, with integrity, and with purpose is a moment you reclaim your power. Self-mastery is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about having the courage to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear, even when you stumble. The real transformation lies not in achieving an idealized version of ourselves, but in embracing the process. The work it takes to build our character, to cultivate virtues like wisdom, courage, and compassion. This journey is not about reaching a final destination. It is about who you become along the way. So I challenge you, do not shy away from the difficulty of this path. Do not be discouraged by the setbacks or the moments of doubt. Embrace them as part of the journey, for they are the moments that shape you. Know that with every choice you make, you are forging a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. And remember, this path of self-mastery is not walked alone. It is walked with every courageous step you take, and with the hope that one day, when you look back, you will see not a perfect being, but a transformed one. someone who, through dedication and struggle, became their truest self. In the end, self-mastery is the greatest freedom. It is the freedom to live life on your own terms, guided not by fleeting emotions or external circumstances, but by your own values and convictions. And that freedom, born from the journey of self-discovery and transformation, is worth every step. Yet there is one more thing to consider on this path: the realization that self-mastery is not about conquering others, but conquering ourselves. It is easy to be swept up in external expectations, to measure our worth by the approval of others or the success we achieve in the eyes of the world. But true mastery comes from within. It comes when you stop comparing yourself to anyone else and instead begin to compete with the person you were yesterday. It is a lifelong journey of introspection, improvement, and self-compassion. And finally, remember that there is no rush. The road to self-mastery is not a sprint, but a marathon. It unfolds in moments, in choices, in reflections. Each day you walk this path, you grow, not just in skill or knowledge, but in wisdom. And as you grow, you will find that self-mastery is not a destination to reach, but a way of living, a way of being fully present in your own life, fully aware of the power and potential that lie within you. Number 6, consciousness as a shield. In a world that constantly pulls us in 1,000 directions, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, ungrounded, and vulnerable. Our emotional state often becomes a reflection of the external chaos, distractions, judgments, conflicts, and challenges that seem to dictate our reactions. But the sobering truth is that external circumstances do not have the power to define our inner world unless we allow them to. The key to emotional resilience lies in our ability to turn inward, to cultivate a deep and unwavering sense of self-awareness, and to choose how we respond to life's inevitable struggles. Imagine yourself as a warrior, standing before a storm. The wind howls, the rain pelts, and the thunder roars. Yet at your center, you are unmoved. Your shield is not made of iron or steel, but of your consciousness, your awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Your shield is not something that blocks or fights the storm, but something that enables you to stand firm within it. With this shield, you are not defined by the forces around you. Instead, you remain anchored in your own strength, your own values, your own capacity for inner peace. This awareness, this consciousness, becomes your true protection, your resilient core. The Stoics understood this power of awareness deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This teaching is not just a philosophy, it is a practice. The only true control we have is over our own responses, our own thoughts, and our own emotions. By cultivating awareness, we break free from the tyranny of external forces. We move from reactive to proactive, from being tossed by life's unpredictability to standing firm with purpose and clarity. But how do we build the shield? It begins with presence, being fully aware in each moment of what is happening within us and around us. It requires deep self-reflection, understanding our triggers, recognizing our habitual responses, and learning to pause before reacting. In those moments of pressure, pain, or frustration, awareness allows us to choose, not to react impulsively, but to respond with intention. This is the transformative power of consciousness. It doesn't change the circumstances, but it transforms how we experience them. It is not an easy task, and it requires continual effort. Our minds are conditioned to react, to spiral into fear or anger, to surrender to the emotional storms that arise within us. But through consistent practice, we can retrain our minds to remain calm in the face of chaos. This is where true resilience is born, not in the absence of difficulty, but in the mastery of how we navigate through it. The more we cultivate our awareness, the more we can choose where to direct our attention, where to place our energy, and how to maintain our inner peace despite the turbulence around us. In a sense, consciousness becomes a mirror that reflects the true nature of reality, untainted by distortion. When we face our challenges with a calm, reflective mind, we stop reacting to the external storm and start understanding it. We begin to see life not as something that happens to us, but as something we experience with clarity and wisdom. This shift allows us to find strength even in the most difficult moments, because we are no longer ruled by our emotions, but by our awareness of them. Remember, the shield of consciousness is always available to you at any moment. It is not a force you need to summon in times of calm, but something you can practice and cultivate every day. Each time you take a step back, reflect on your emotional state, and choose how to respond, you are strengthening your shield. Over time, this shield becomes unshakable, a foundation of peace, power, and presence that cannot be easily disturbed. And ultimately, this is the path to true emotional freedom. You become the master of your inner world. No storm, no circumstance, no external force can uproot you because your resilience comes from within. You are no longer a victim to the chaos of life. You are a conscious creator of your experience. This is the transformative power of consciousness. When we cultivate awareness, we unlock our deepest strength and become truly unshakable. The world will keep testing you. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will shift. But now you know the truth. Your power lies within. You are not a victim of others' actions or opinions. You are the master of your mind, your emotions, your response. Nothing and nobody can hurt you unless you let them. If this message stirred something within you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and powerful truths. Keep walking the path, stay strong, stay present, and above all, protect your peace. You were built for this.